Hey guys, it's John C. Morley here, serial entrepreneur. Do check out my hat, which says believemeachieve.com, which you can always visit from where my amazing, inspiring creations, guys. Happy Sunday to everybody. You guys probably know that it is Sunday right now, and it's really great to be with you today, as it's always great to be with you here on Inspirations for Your Life. And we have, when I tell you an amazing show, we have an amazing, amazing show for you. I mean, just really amazing is probably just the best thing I can tell you because the thing that you don't realize is that there's so many things that we can just basically understand. And by understanding things, it's like life can just change, right? Life can just change for us. And the reason it can change for us is because we see something a different way. We get a different perception, right? That's probably a very, very big thing. But, today we're going to go through something I think that's really important. And that's the fact that that people really want to understand. They want to understand. They want to make change in their life, but they just don't know always how to do it, right? They just don't have an idea of how to do it. So the thing I want to share with you is that, what we're going to talk about today is a really, really, I'm going to say a very valuable topic, a topic that a lot of people wouldn't think about. But this is one that I think you guys are really going to enjoy. All right, guys, so let's get right into that topic. I want to thank you, whether you're joining me right here live at 3:40 p.m. on a Sunday afternoon, 3:40 a.m., 6 a.m., 6 p.m., 12 noon, 12 midnight, makes no difference when you join me. Thank you so much for being here with me today. And our master topic of the week, as you guys didn't, if you didn't know, captivating life stories that will change your life. And we have some great guests coming up, so definitely stay tuned for that later in the week. So the granular topic for today is how to know what your audience wants. So, Series 3 means we're in the third year, show 26, episode number 2. And that's a pretty amazing thing, ladies and gentlemen. Right? And the reason I say it's an amazing thing is because this is going to help us to get a perception that we might have not known before. And I think that's something that is really going to, how can I say, something that's really going to make a really, really big difference. So definitely stay tuned here for this because we have a lot to share with you guys today. And the first thing is to understand what we're going to be doing today, which is really, really important. The master topic for the week, I guess, is captivating life stories that will change your life. And the topic for today is how to know what your audience wants. I think that's a very, very important thing, ladies and gentlemen. But you might be flabbergasted by that, but don't. First thing you want to do when you're going to talk to an audience or be with an audience is you have to identify demographics. Now, this is not a hard thing. So what are demographics? Well, that's a great question. Demographics can let's say, plot down to things like age, likes, dislikes. Okay. So these are important things, but it's not anything for you to get worried or scared about. Okay. You just basically examine what they are, and you get to know what your audience is, okay? And you want to do this in advance. Now, people say to me, John, what are demographics? Well, in a very simple sense, it's statistical data to the population or the group that you're going to be with. That could be the age, the sex, the income level, the race, the employment, location, home ownership, level of education, likes, dislikes, like I said, hobbies, things they purchased, lots of different things around that. And so it's really cool to understand that. So what you can also do is you can take a survey, ladies and gentlemen. You can take a survey before you start. And so taking a survey is probably a pretty amazing thing. And you can take a survey literally, I'm going to tell you, like, really easily. It's not hard to take a survey. And so to take a survey is something that might take you a little bit of time. All right. It might take you a little bit of time. And so this is something that can help you and give you more of an understanding of who your audience is and how you're going to be talking with them. You also can go through and research industry trends. Maybe you're talking about something that relates to a specific group. Maybe you're talking to a group of entrepreneurs, or maybe you're talking to, let's say, a bunch of college students, right? Maybe you're talking to a bunch of people that are very vigilant with volunteering. So these are useful things that you can really take the time to understand. All right. And so when we understand these things, it's like our life just changes. And so when we understand why something works a certain way, why it doesn't work a certain way, why, and the question about why is not hard. The question about why is, what do we need to do, right? What do we need to do? And if we know what we do, then I would tell you that life can be, when I say amazing, life can be amazing. It really can. But if you don't believe me, then I would tell you that you have to experience this, right? You have to experience what it is, what it's about. And so let's think for just a moment, all right? Let's think for the things that your audience wants. That's what we're doing here. So we want to set a clear objective to what we're going to be communicating with the audience. I mean, that's the bottom line. When we set that clear goal of what the audience wants, what they expect, then your life like changes, okay? And the reason it changes is because you're on a different wavelength with the people in the room. You're not trying to sell them. You're not trying to, let's say, manipulate them. You're trying to give them honest information that could probably improve the quality of their lives. You see, most people that give presentations, they do this because they're looking to get something out. Now, I get that you want to get something. Don't get me wrong. But you have to put that on a shelf for a little while. And you have to understand that if you can put that on a shelf for a little while, you will be able to grow, okay? You will be able to grow. That's a promise. But it's not something that maybe you understand. And so maybe you're saying to me, hey, John, I don't necessarily know, like, what it is. I don't know why it's this way. But long story short, you can do a lot of great things if you understand one thing. What's that one thing? That one thing is that you have power. You have potential in your life, right? And so when we understand, like, why an audience is a certain way, why they're this way, this can help us as to how we can become better in our lives. I mean, how? And the how comes down to something that's really remarkable. And what I mean by that is it's something that people want. Okay? People want. And you might be saying to me, hey, John, I don't know why, but it's something that's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing, right? And the reason it's pretty amazing is because you can understand that there's a difference in your life. There's a difference, and that difference happens when you start to realize what's happening. But again, it doesn't happen overnight. It does not happen overnight. And the reason it doesn't happen overnight is because you have to be on a wavelength that makes you understand. But again, it's not something that just happens. Okay. It's not something that just happens. And so when we think about, how things can be a certain way, or maybe how they can be a certain way, I think that can make, a very big difference. And that difference is pretty cool. And what I mean by being cool is it's something that will allow you to be able to grow. All right. And and how do you grow? Well, it's pretty cool. You grow because you're able to acknowledge the way something is or the way something isn't. Okay. Let me say that again. You're able to grow because of the way something is or something isn't. And that might sound like hard for you to digest, right? But it's not. When you can understand that, okay, then life can be really amazing for you. Okay. It could be amazing because you're able to then connect, which is like a really special thing. And so you've got to set a clear objective for what you want to share with your audience. Another important thing that you need to do is you need to include interactive components. Now, this could be questions. This can be animations, but things that are going to get your audience to have to say something, to do something, right? That's what an interactive component. People say to me, "Hey, John, what is an interactive audience component?" And it's nothing crazy. It could be something like a clickable button. It could be animations. It could be a role playing scenario. But it's a way that gets the audience to take a step, right? And this allows them to basically stay on par. It allows them to not get, what can I say, bored and maybe fall asleep, right? Because that can happen, right? And if somebody falls asleep, then it's like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? How is this going to work? And I think people just don't understand why things are a certain way, right? They don't necessarily know why. And the reason they don't know why is they just feel that what you're doing is not, let's say, important to what they want in their life. So if you're trying to do something and it doesn't resonate with somebody else, then you're going to be going through an uphill battle, because you've got to deliver in a way that makes other people want to connect with you. That is key. All right. Of course, you have to tailor your message. I mean, this goes without saying, ladies and gentlemen. You have to tailor your message to the people, to the age demographic, gender, right? To what it is that these people value. Okay. Now, again, that's not a hard thing to do, but you have to do some research for it. If you don't do some research for it, then you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to do this. Right? I don't know how to do this. And if you don't know how to do this, then it's like, oh my gosh, it's like, how am I gonna do that right thing? And that right thing is not hard, but that right thing is something that I feel you're gonna be on the fence about. Okay? And you'll be on the fence about it for one reason. You know what that is? You'll be on the fence because you don't understand the one big thing. Okay? That's important. And I will tell you that it's important to know what it is that you want. and what other people want. Okay? You've got to understand that. If you understand those things, then life can be so very, very amazing. But you can't just expect that to happen like, out of the blue, right? You can't. You cannot expect it to happen out of the blue. And so when I say out of the blue, I mean the fact that you have to be someone that respects things, okay? If you don't respect things, then, you're going to have a really big problem. And the problem you're going to have is that many people, okay, don't understand why something is a certain way. Why? It's because of where they are at the present time in their life. Okay? Does that make sense? Think about that for a minute. Think about that for a minute. I think a lot of people don't get it. And I think that's a big issue. That's a big issue. The other big issue that I'm going to say right now is that you've got to do a test run, a pilot run with your content. You can't just like run, cold turkey and say, oh, gee, I hope they're going to like it. You got to test it in front of some friends or first from some people that are going to be in a similar demographic if you can, because that will really show how well the content's going to resonate. You could always try with some friends or buddies or family members, but it's not going to be as representative as a sample as something that you would do for, let's say, that group, right? Or one that resembles that group. So that's very important. Not the last thing, I'll tell you, you got to follow up with the people. If you see something's not working properly, you've got to observe and you've got to adapt. That's it. And so what we talked about today is some very important things in terms of your audience, okay? We're going to talk a little more about specifically some ways you can prep up. But I think what I want to share with you today was just really, how do you get ready to speak in front of an audience? Okay? Tomorrow we're going to go into a little deeper about that, but when you're actually in front of the audience. We're going to talk more about the observe and adapt. We're going to talk more about that step 9. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. It's been a privilege, been a pleasure and honor to be with you this fantastic, amazing day. I hope you'll like, love, support the channel, comment below, tag your friends, colleagues, associates, and I'll see you guys real soon, all right? Have yourself an amazing rest of your day and night, and I'll catch you for another episode tomorrow.